Hey there, everybody. It's time for our feature interview. I'm Cole Conley, and alongside me today, Olivia Bailey, who interned with CNN through their offices in Atlanta. Olivia, how are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm on the other side of the chair now. It's different being back here at Emory and Henry and not in the interview seat.
It's a little different for sure. It's a little different for me too. But first of all, let's just dive right in here. You had your internship opportunity with CNN. How did you even find that opportunity to begin with?
Absolutely. Well, that's the funny story about it all is that I wasn't even looking for it. I didn't even think I would get it. It was a shot in the dark. I had applied for a couple of things in New York, a couple of big shots that I'd had previous experience with, and I was really dependent on those. And when the opportunities there fell through, I just started filling out applications everywhere. I was sending my resume off, I was sending cover letters everywhere, and I probably sent 35 or 40. And in one of those times, what I did was I went to the Turner Jobs website. I saw a couple of things on CNN and blindly applied. I knew what my experience was, and I'd had experience with the department, CNN News Source, before when I worked at WCYB. So I just kind of took a shot in the dark, and around May, I got a phone call. And I had the phone call on Monday, an interview on Wednesday, and accepted the job on Friday. So it was pretty quick, but I mean, led straight to Atlanta.
I'd say that's a heck of a turnaround. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you would have a chance to work at CNN?
Absolutely not. I mean, when you start out in the career and you're in television, you're ultimately thinking CNN, all these big networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, anything that you can get to the top on, I guess. And when I got the phone call from CNN, and I got a couple of emails at first, and I thought they were mistakes of your resume's still in the mix here, and I just thought they were mistakes, things that they'd sent out to everyone. And then finally, I got a call from who ended up being my supervisor, Jason Mucci, and it was unbelievable. I can't tell you how fast my heart was beating when I would talk to him on the phone. And from the very beginning, it was very conversational, and it was a place that I knew I would fit in. So from day one, starting out with the interview on, I mean, I was confident that I would end up being CNN after I went through the interview process.
Okay. Well, a little more broadly then, let's go into what exactly was the experience like. I'll leave it wide open here.
Well, at first, it was intimidating. Like I said, I was coming from a local background, interning at WCYB in Bristol. And so you walk in and you see the big CNN letters as you're walking through the doors. And every day I had to remind myself, you're walking into CNN headquarters. This is real. You work here. So just starting with that, I mean, it was just an unbelievable out-of-body experience. But from day to day, it was just doing work. I worked a lot with the affiliate side of everything. And so I would talk to affiliates from across the country. I would produce content for them. They would use my stories on air. We had over 900 affiliates for News Source. So there was a variety of any of my material being used on one of those 900 channels. So when I got to see I guess I got to see the benefits of that, and at times my boss would actually send me a list of all the stations that had received my stuff and actually used it on their shows. So after I got to see that, I mean, it was just like everything came together, and I mean, it was just one thing after another. I sat through the editorial meeting every morning with CNN President Jeff Zucker. They do kind of like a Skype session where they'll talk about the day's stories and what they're going to cover as far as the network. And just being in that, I mean, it was unreal.
Wow. Was there a highlight to your experience overall, something that you remember far above anything else?
The whole experience was incredible, but I would say, I guess in the legacy, looking back, I was able to work with part of what CNN News Source does is they work with the CNN Wire, tagging photos and making sure those are distributed to affiliates. And I worked a lot with the college publications and journalism programs because of my experience with the White Chopper. And we were able to determine like a strategy as far as targeting those college publications and getting them involved in the wire process. And outside of that, they've now created a new internship as part of that. And so I was kind of the first, I guess, guinea pig in that whole process. So that was really nice, and seeing something come out of that was very beneficial.
Obviously, you're not with CNN right now if you're sitting on the set, but is there a major skill or a lesson that you took away that really has helped you in the last month or so?
I think confidence. When you go to a company like that where you're working with thousands of other employees, you have to realize that you're one of many, and everyone there has all these incredible talents and skills. So I think coming away from that, knowing that I was able to learn from some of the best people in the business, gave me so much confidence to go out in the world and teach some of those skills to other people. So I think if I came away with anything, it was that.
Okay, another aspect I think of this whole experience was living in Atlanta for a little while. Obviously, it's not Emory, it's not Chilhowie where you grew up. What was it like to transition to some place that was completely new?
I was so excited. I was actually born in Georgia, so I felt like I was going back to my roots a little bit. I pulled up on the first day. I had a roommate who'd gone to the University of Tennessee. I knew it was going to be so great, and I had a wonderful experience living in Atlanta. I had neighbors that cooked dinner for me every night. They had kids, so I was over at their house playing with the children, and every night I was able to come home and it felt like I was coming home to a family. So I think that really provided for a really good atmosphere, and being in Atlanta and just being away from my family, it was like I had a couple of other families in CNN and in my neighborhood in Atlanta.
All right, one last question, Olivia. Real quickly, how did this experience shape your plans for after graduation from Emory?
Well, it gave me a lot of confidence going out into the world. I actually came back and went to Ireland for a semester, and then came back again. And so now that I'm back in the Tri-Cities, I'm working for a local TV station, WCYB. I kind of went back to where I interned and had all my experience. But coming back, now I see the network side of television and I see the local side of television. So moving on, eventually I'd like to end up back at a network because it's just, there's so many opportunities there. But now I kind of have an understanding for how both operate in the television world.
Olivia, thanks so much for being on the set today. We appreciate you talking to us and sitting down.
Thank you. Not a problem at all.
And in the meantime, now we'll take a look at our community calendar and back to Logan Nestor's interview with head football coach Kurt Newsom.